this is JC. Welcome to Urban Knife Guy, where we explore the urban lifestyle and jungle survival. Today I would like to talk about 5 things I think are essential when you go out to the jungle. And I'm talking about my environment, which is the tropical jungle. Now, these things may or may not apply to a more temperate climate or forest, depending really on the seasons as well. But generally in the tropical jungle, it's very dense. As you can see, it's humid, it is mainly wet, and if you're really in the thick of it, no real landmarks that you can see. The canopy is very thick, and generally you really need to find your way to clearing if you want to see, a clear sky. If not, you have to navigate your way through this kind of condition. So I thought, what will be the 5 things that I would definitely need on me if I go out to the jungle? Now, this is a bit of a hypothetical scenario. I'll never be in a situation where I only have these 5 items. If I'm going out to the jungle, I'm preparing, so I would have more than these 5 items. If I happen to be in a survival situation, maybe you're in a plane, it crashes, you survive and you're in the jungle, it's unlikely you're going to have these 5 things anyway on you in the plane, in your luggage, if you can find your luggage. But I thought, okay, just for hypothetical, if I were to choose 5 items, what would these essential items be? And you can take it from the point of view that, well, maybe you definitely need to have these 5 items as your base items in your kit before you build upon it. So let's look for a place where I can set down these 5 items and I'll share them with you and why I think they're essential for jungle survival. So here are the 5 items I think are essential for jungle survival. You need a water bottle, a cutting instrument, a lighter, a bandana, and a satellite communicator or some other navigation device. If you don't have that, then at least a compass, some kind of navigation device. Now let me explain to you the rationale. So I'm talking about just 5 items here, so I'm not talking about kits or building upon the items. So if I had to choose 5 individual items, these are the items. So the first would be a water bottle. In the jungle, you definitely need water. It's humid, it can be hot. The good news is you do not need a lot of water in terms of a carrying container because there are a lot of resources where you can get water from. But if you want to bring clean water, definitely a water bottle. And if it's only 1 item, you do not want a plastic one, you want one made out of metal, in this case stainless steel, so that if you run out of water and you need to collect water and purify it, you can create a fire and you can boil the water inside. You couldn't do that with plastic. Now, in order to start a fire, you definitely need some kind of combustion tool, and I would choose a lighter over a ferro rod. I know some people might choose a ferro rod and think that's a better choice, but honestly, in the jungle, as I mentioned, it's always really damp. And if you're in a jungle survival situation where you want to conserve energy and you really want to boost your morale, then a lighter would win every single time because you can set a fire much easier. And if you take a strike wheel version, even if you run out of gas, you can create the sparks of the flint if you can find tinder. And the great thing is, if you do start a fire, you can get pith from rotting wood, put that in the fire, get it charred, and then take it out, bury it to cool it down, and that in future can be used as a tinder source, just like how char cloth is made. So definitely I would choose a lighter over a ferro rod. Next, in order to process wood or just for general cutting and chopping, you need some kind of tool, and of course I would go with a parang. This is my parang, made in Malaysia. This model is called the Village Chandong. Now, I consider this pattern a great pattern in terms of being a 1-2 option. Now, of course, I believe in the 3-knife system. I've talked about this before in a previous video. You can check that out in the link in the card above or description below. But again, if I could only choose 1 cutting tool, then I'll choose something like this. And this particular pattern I like because I can clear, I can chop, I can choke up to do fine work. You can see that's the cutting blade over there, and it's relatively straight as well. So I find this pattern pretty good. In a way, you can say it's a jack of all trades because something like a big Duku Chandong can chop better. And if you've got a parang, and if you have a parang lading, something like that would clear easily because it's lighter and more nimble. However, in terms of all-round chopping, clearing, fine work, to me, this pattern at least works for me the best. Next, a bandana. So multi-use, you want to find a bandana which is a bright color that is different from your environment. In the jungle, something like this very baby light blue will stand out. So it could be used as an emergency signal or some kind of trail marking if needed. You can of course use this to wipe your perspiration. You can use this as a filter if you're collecting water and you want to get rid of the big sediments. You can use this. Now always try to find 100% cotton bandana. It's not that easy to find because a lot of them are polyester blends, even though they state it's 100% cotton. And I actually had to go through several sellers before I found one that is 100% cotton, and you can definitely feel the difference. So a brightly colored bandana, 100% cotton. Now the fifth item I would carry, some may think this is a cheat, but to me this makes sense. If you're going out to the wilderness, especially in areas that you're unfamiliar with, you got to bring a satellite communicator. This is the Garmin InReach Mini 2. And this basically is a satellite communicator, allows you to communicate through messages via satellite. And there's also an SOS button that is internationally supported. And if you ever run into a situation, you can press that. There's also got a built-in compass, built-in navigator, so you can backtrack your steps. So all around, just to me, if you're going out, it makes sense that this becomes an essential tool. If you do not have a satellite communicator, or you're not going to a place where it's completely remote, then maybe at least bring a compass, whether it's a lensatic compass like this or a base compass, something that you can navigate with, know which direction you're going so that you can find your way out if you get lost. I'm back in the studio and I thought I'd add some things that I forgot to mention when I was out in the field. Now, these items do cover some of the 5 C's, namely container, cutting tool, and combustion. You might say there are 2 C's missing, cover and cordage. Now, in terms of cover, in the jungle, because it's a humid tropical environment, you aren't going to get massive cold weather where you need a shelter to hide, build a fire so it reflects your heat and just keeps you warm. If anything, it is going to rain, so you really just want to get out of the rain. In that case, there's also lots of resources where you can build a natural shelter, and you need your parang or cutting tool to be able to do so. Now, you might say you also need cordage, and that should be inside. Well, the great thing about the jungle, again, lots of resources for cordage. If you're, let's say, building a shelter, you could dig up roots and tie them together, and that can form pretty strong cordage. Or you can even make cordage such as this. And I showed how to get the easiest resource from a jungle in terms of a palm tree, and then how to get that material and braid it together to create cordage. You can check out that video in the link in the card above or description below. Therefore, based on that reasoning, these are the 5 items that I think are essential for jungle survival. But let me know what you think. Do you agree with these 5 items? Would you do things differently? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like the content in general, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.